Okay, welcome back to the PSA podcast. This is our first live stream. We're going to try and see if we can watch what I watched together. Honestly, we can break it down together instead of breaking down the what you call it, the videos individually, like on a TikTok platform. So I'd like I'm using I'm using StreamYard. That's the streaming app, but that doesn't matter. That's not my. I'm not getting paid to promote that. But yes, so we're going to watch Piers Morgan's interview with Basim Youssef and then Israel International. So the reason why we are watching this right now is because Israel, if you guys understand, Israel and Palestine, the war's been going on for a while, and now it has escalated into the whole, well, been on the whole, but now it's expanding throughout the whole Middle East. So just about 3 4 days ago, Israel initiated a preemptive strike to Iran, and if you don't know very well, in Iran's what you call it, Netanyahu's preemptive strike on Iran. Well, I'll define a preemptive strike to begin with. A preemptive strike is the act of acting first or initially based off of a threat of national security. And in this case, the threat of national security was that Iran has been close to developing nuclear weapons. It's been like that for about how long? 4 years now. They've been saying Iran is close. Well, not even 4 years. It's been decades. They've been saying Iran's close to developing nuclear weapons. Anyways, let's move on. Let's see what Pierce's take is on this. And by the way, if you remember the early days of the war on this Israel and Palestine, Pierce, I've said it before, I'm not coming after the guy. He has apologized, he has changed his outlooks, allegedly. But from the jump of the war, this guy was pro war, pro Palestine, not pro Israel, just pro war in general. And he even got into it with Bassem Youssef over his views on Israel's policies. Yes, and there have been sanctions on Israel's ambassadors, meaning they cannot go to some of their closest countries' allies anymore. So they've been put like on a travel ban. Which is true technically. He does have a point. They do represent what the voters feel. In a recent study, I think 80%, that's a high number, but yes, it was more than 80%. The majority of Israelis did vote for the annihilation of Palestinians and surrounding areas. So technically, he does have a point. And again, he does have a point saying it's hypocritical. Because how are you going to say, let's ban these ambassadors for coming abroad, while at least you're still sending money to them? So, in a sense, this Israeli does have a point. It is hypocritical on the West part. UNRWA, what is that? What organizations that I've never heard of it? I mean, I heard of it. I bet it's probably a United Nations. United Nations Relief and Rehabilitation. No, that can't be it. What is UNRWA? One second. One second. What organization is that? United Nations Relief Works Agency. Who? And people were signing, by the way, there's videos of people signing those darn. Let me see if I can pull it up. No way. Okay, my phone's still alive. But there were people signing those bombs, bro. Politicians, celebrities signing bombs going to drop in Gaza. And that is not only the money we spent. Let me pull up the receipts real quick. Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley was out here signing bombs.
Nikki Haley signs IDF
Look,
bomb during visit to Israel. Finish them.
I don't know if you can
Former
see.
Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley
Either
left
way,
no
you get the
words of
point. These
encouragement to
guys,
Israel.
in the beginning of the war, now they're acting like it's a whole humanitarian thing. Bro, motherfuckers were signing bombs early in the war. Like legit, legit, like the way celebrities sign titties, bruh. Yes, by its own means. Tragic. I mean, That is true. Out of all the agencies that you have embassies, right? These are people that come out here and try and boost relationships between two countries or many. But APAC, out of all of the agencies that we have and embassies here, APAC is different. It's the only one that is not registered as a foreign entity. It's registered under it's an American organization, but the APEC, American Jewish something something. But regardless, what was his name? JFK's plan was to register it under a foreign policy. You know what I mean? Like they were going to register it as an agency from outside the country, vying for relationship between two separate entities, not a country within a country, because that is how basically they operate. And they do spend a lot of money. Like they spent a lot of money keeping people in power who are supporters of Israel. So again, you saw that in the beginning of the war, the Democrats and the Republicans, they normally beef a lot, right? But during the Israeli policies, that is the only time they come together. It's not out of coincidence. It's because APAC lobbies. And again, APAC lobbying is not a big deal. You have other lobbyists too. You have tobacco lobbyists, you have alcohol lobbyists, people that lobby, and all these lobbyists, and oil and gas, all these guys, pharmaceuticals, pharmacies, they're lobbyists as well. And for them, they do not play the political game. There's neither one side or the other. These guys are they're money people, money and policy. It doesn't matter who's in power. You're always going to drink liquor. You're always going to smoke cigarettes, and you'll always be medicated. It doesn't matter who's in power. APAC similar with the Israeli policy and influence. It doesn't matter what your policies are domestically, internationally, left, right. Because again, normally you know the left is against war. But in Israel, you saw these guys that were ready to go at it, bro. And beyond that, you can't really. Israel has the unequivocal right to defend itself. I said that in my last podcast. How? How? The whole basis is an occupying state. This is international law. This is not my law. This is the law set by the international community or committee or whatever. An occupying state cannot defend itself. When that South African song "Kill the Boer, Kill the Whatever," that was during a time of apartheid. That is a strong of struggle. It wasn't a racist song because we cannot be racist to people that are occupying us. You cannot. You can be. You can't. You know, if you're being occupied, you can resist. It's called resistance. It's not terrorism. It's not that. Now they may carry terroristic acts out, but again, it's resistance, my boy. Legit. They'll tell you what to do. You pay money to them to kill people, which is already bad enough. But on top of that, I can talk shit about Trump here today. It wouldn't affect me. But if I use my influence to say anything against Israel, you lose your job, you lose everything. And what's the famous quote? Show me who controls you by who you can criticize. This is the only place, and mind you, I'm a refugee. And if you know many people from outside of the world in governments where they operate in a tyrannical way, you can never speak up because they'll round you up. The secret police will round you up, and you really can't speak out against stuff. That's why the beauty of America is. But bro, you could have talked shit to him. Bill Clinton, they used to call him a dumbass, or Bush, one of them. Either way, they used to call him a bumbling fool. But again, you find yourselves here. You can't even criticize Israel. You do that, you lose your jobs. That's wild. Mm, yeah, real shit, real shit. And again, it's different. They're paying money. For real people on the road. For real. What happened to pull yourself up by the bootstraps? Yet while here giving out again large amounts of money to people that pride themselves in the lack of handouts. While here cutting again the legitimate infrastructure that helps people. And while still sponsoring wars, you're gonna cut DEI for other people. Which again, I went in on that episode. Elon was the provocateur of such behaviors, but we may leave him slide. We got one. Who's watching this? It's only one dude. Is it even a dude, bro? Show me your live, dude. Say a what's up or something. Can I even see the comments? Either way, thank you for watching. It's been one guy this whole time. I don't know. That may even be me. Is it? I'm gonna find you 1 second. Do not leave. Huh. Interesting. Hmm. It's not about you. This is the other thing too about this nigga. Every time, oh my God, when I used to defend the Israelis, I used to get death threats about poor you, Pierce Morgan. Poor you, you're getting threatened. But you were legitimately, again, the number one voice in influencing the actions of the Israelis. In fact, you didn't influence them, they always knew what they wanted to do. But this nigga right here, he, poor you, bro. Oh, I'll be back. I don't know what he said, but I already know what he said. Like this boy, again, like Bassem Yusuf said in the beginning, all you use is Hamas. October 7th, October 7th. Even Pierce, again, dude, I'm not gonna go easy on this guy because again, we are where we are because of him and many more. But influential people, you have an obligation. Nonetheless, um, Hamas, October 7th. Hamas, October 7th. You did it too. Oh, what about this? What about that? Bro, there nobody's using the same point. We are always, even people that are normally against this war try to appeal from multiple different angles. You Because again, you have to try, you're like, okay, on just the basis of morality, why would you kill a lot of people? It's not our intentions. We are going for Hamas. Okay, dude, I understand, but you blew up seven, like you killed like 50 people to get one guy that wasn't even in the building. So is that right? Oh, dude, but like Hamas, our intention was not. So okay, we'll switch from that. What about international comedy? Oh no, but Hamas is such a big evil. So it's like him trying to, like, every logical argument. This is the problem of people that gaslight. They use legit logical arguments for negative shit. Why? Like, because again, it's not that you are right, but again, I do admit, I do understand linguistics. I understand linguistics. The use of the language is appropriate, but it's flipped because again, you can justify any heinous thing if you can linguistically make it make sense. Because they are using, you see this, oh, that is a gaslighting tactic. You guys always use the same thing. It's a gaslighting tactic. Yes, you're using a logical argument, you're phrasing away in a logical way, but you're just not fucking making sense, dude. Arms deals, dude. They're trading whatever. Because it's not their responsibility. If somebody went into my neighbor's house and was beating my neighbor, and then for some reason, just because I'm my neighbor's friend or I am my neighbor's neighbor, and then they're like, okay, since this guy's always breaking into this guy's house to beat him up all the time, why are you not taking him in? Because it's his fucking house. That is again, it's an illogical, like, what kind of entitled person, or like the lack of self awareness, bro. What do you mean? Legitimately, that's the exact, like, same scenario. Again, they always try and put it. Okay, why would they take him in? It's their place. Why would I take in my neighbor? Just because somebody broke in and keeps beating him up? Dude, stop beating up my neighbor. What do you mean, why don't you take him in? And then people now will actively listen to that and make it a logical argument and saying, why are the other people not taking him if they love him so much? It's their fucking place, bro. So if somebody came here to America and started harassing us, would we blame Mexico for not taking us in? Why the fuck would we? Dude, we gotta go. Liars, terrible humans. escaping poor Gazans. Again, this is the same neighbor that's like, dude, just take him in. This guy here, he's hurting. This place is not safe. Motherfucker, you're the reason it's not safe. You're more worried about, again, Egyptians have no right. In fact, nobody has to take them. It's their place. You guys got take. You got taken in because you had nowhere to go. Different scenarios. They are where they were. Why would they go anywhere? Me as a refugee, I'm here because why am I here? Because it's not safe to be home. And again, it is not up to our attackers to tell me. Like, it's different in a sense. Is it would have been if our attackers were asking us to leave. Good question. Why am I here? Oh, that is a good question. It's fine. We can let it slide. Let's let it slide. No, it's a national security. Why? But they were never going to come back. If they would have left, they wouldn't come back. You hear Trump talking about turning the place into a resort, which again, technically, is that there is never an intention for the people to return to their places. Back. Good question, man. I can't answer that. Me, I can't. I didn't even know this was live, to be honest, dude. Again, keep in mind this guy's talking like beware of false prophets, man. These are the people that come here pretending to be in good faith and worrying about 200 whatever civilians being killed. Yet again, in the beginning, when he was told what was happening, not even in the beginning, he just changed his mind about a month ago. And again, all these arguments that he's using, yes, but that's what he was being told. And you see, Basim right now is baffled. He's quiet. Yes, they all understand, but trust me, nobody forgets. You do not forget. If you still do have blood on your hands, but these are all the points that people were making prior to the war really got escalated and after. And by the way, again, it wasn't meant to be like, "Well, we shall move, we shall keep moving." So was there or was there not a 3 month blockade? Indeed, there was. Hamas. To this date, there are over 5,000 Palestinians. Prior to October 7th, there are over 5,000 Palestinians in Israeli jails. Where do you think October 7th came from? It didn't come out of nowhere. But even prior to October 7th, prior to Hamas, they were, yeah, over 5,000 Palestinians. Let me look it up, low key, bro. Let me stop lying. But I know there was a higher number of Palestinians detained. Number of Palestinians in Israel prisons. 5,000. I was being generous. It's actually close to 10. You think I'm lying, man? Look it up, bro. 10. 10,000. You guys can't see, but it's there. 10,000 prior to that. And these are political prisoners in there for it could be anything as just walking on the wrong side of the street. And again, in a population where more than half percent are kids, most of those people in the jails are young people. Over 10,000 of them, your own people in your own land in jails. And again, 250 hostages. Yes, very bad. But again, what led to October 7th? If you have kids that are fighting, you don't just punish them for the fighting. You look for the reason of where the thing started. You're like, okay, bro, let us track down and see where this issue started, and then you proceed from there. But again, knowing that there were 10,000 Palestinians in their jails prior to this, and I think it was 5,000 initially, because I'm going off of the stats prior to the escalation of the war. And again, maybe I was still being generous by then. 10,000 is wild. And again, if you saw my last episode, Hamas was, you have the PLO and PLA and Hamas. Hamas was propped up by even Netanyahu himself, sponsoring them and allowing them to thrive. And recently on Twitter, he just admitted to arming gangs in Gaza. And these are just little young men, and that he's enabling radicalists to be radical so that he can use them as an argument to kill their people. Again, this is Bibi Netanyahu. This nigga just admitted it on Twitter. You guys want me to pull up the evidence again? You know I don't play, bro. This is all facts. X, let me see. Legit, Bibi did admit to bringing to arming gangs. Pardon me. Israel ended the last ceasefire. By the way, so all that excuse just to circle back to the fact that they were committing a blockade. This is the gaslighting is wild. Like it would be. I've been in relationships like that, dude. It would be just wild. It would be baffling. A 3 month blockade in Gaza, 2 million people in an area about as big as well, really small. How big is Gaza? Gaza is not that big, dude. It's about a city. It's about a city-size block with 2 million people, the highest densely like populated area in the world, because you have 2 million people there. No electricity since the war started. Legitimately nothing at all. 2 million people. No food. You see the videos of aid when they come in. In fact, they used to drop aid over them like dogs, bro. Food. We used to see that in the beginning. And again, it's like 2 million people starving. What does that happen? What happens to a population like that? They were killing the animals too. They killed the animals, everything, anything that moved was got. And they started this in the beginning when they were killing, there were videos of them killing dogs, cows, horses, chickens, anything in their lands. But again, we just thought they were just natural, not natural. It's, what am I saying? They were just acts of aggression. Clearly was bad, but we didn't think there was more to that. Again, now connecting the dots, you're like, oh shit, they were planning a fucking starvation life. Like we just thought they were just killing animals. Like, oh, dude, they're wilding. No, but it was a plan. Everything was strategic into genocide. They're killing all their sources of food. And again, when they were given after the United Nations settlement where the Israelis were given 56% of the land. All that land was arable land. They pushed them into the inwards, into the inner cities. Again, 2 million people put in one fucking little zone. Where are you gonna farm? There's no farming. And the few animals they had, they wiped them out. They were the first victims to go. And from the beginning, you can clearly tell there were intentions to starve them. And again, this is like living in a place where, like, for me to go get food to the store, I'd have to go through my neighbor's living room. Which again, it's like it's in your own house. You're still in the same house, but you have to, just because I'm like, dude, at my generosity, you're welcome that you can go get food. Motherfucker, no, you're just blocking the road. Regardless, I have to go get food or not. So it's not that the idea of allowing aid to get in is wild, because again, it's like that is the only route for aid to get in through you, because you put them in a situation where they're landlocked and there's nothing. Kind of very similar to the apartheid in South Africa. Let's see. What? Dude, does it? And honestly, bro, poor Basim, man. This guy had a lot of energy in the beginning of the war, but as you see him now, even though the media tide has changed, it's a little too late. Like, legit, that's the problem with this nigga. What I have with Pierce too. It's a little too late. The damage is done. Like, you have killed so many people and you have displaced so many people that even if you stop this war, which is why BB1 ended, is that you have to answer. He has to attend the Hague after this. Legit, like, it's gotten so far. Like, he's a defeated guy. It's like, yes, even if they get to admit it at this point, they've killed too many people. Like, whether there's no victory, it's a tragedy already. 2.14 million people in Gaza. 149 miles, square miles. That's Gaza. That's how big that area is. 2.4 million people. Again, if you see the images of the political prisoners, and again, yes, that's bad, but the hostages, when they came out, man, they were looking better than the political prisoners freed from. Bro, this guy was released from an Israeli prison and died 2 months later because of just the stress on his body. Like even if you see the Palestinians, they look like Nazi Germany Jews. That's it. That's how you see them. Like it's just bad. It's really bad if you see how they look like. I'm trying to find videos, man. I can't me cook. And again, I don't know if you can see. Mm. You look up Gaza for yourself. There's no markets. That thing has been turned into a parking lot. you, you, what war, dude? Even in the Vietnam War, the height of the Vietnam War, very well documented. Every war, there's nobody who says journalists can't go there because I'm worried for the safety of journalists. If only journalists can't go there, it's because you're running. It's not a democratic regime; it's a dictatorship. And again, not beyond that, you're probably committing war crimes if you don't want no video images in your state. And again, it is ridiculous because again, journalists, when you decide to become a journalist, you understand the ramifications of your job, and especially field journalists that go to active war zones or that go to like places of natural disasters. There is a threat to die. That is part of the oath of being a journalist. You understand the consequences. Every other war, again, even World War One, two, three, they were journalists in the military. They were military journalists that would go out there and document all these shit that's happening. In they would go there, and he's saying, "I'll allow you personally, Pierce, because you've been campaigning." Again, that's why they know even deep down he was a huge voice. They were like, "We'll let you come in so we can show you what you want to see. We'll take you to the places that we want you to go, not the places where we're committing genocides. No, we'll take you to the places that we have cleaned up and that are safe for you, or that way we can pretend to say, oh, it's been booby trapped. Every other third house is booby trapped."
Bassem,
Europe
your
would
response.
have a good opportunity to do
I
it.
was promised
Bassem,
equal
your
time.
response.
I've spoken for 3 minutes or even less, and the rest he's spoken. This is unfair. Like, come on, guys.
Well, you had equal time
I
until that last exchange where I.
more international laws than this is like this this is the
Yeah.
problem.
So all along,
Pathological in him. And a maze of circular logic that you either give up or you lose your temper, right? You evidence, question the source. Give them source, the sources are biased. You show them video footage, the footage is taken out of context. You give them the context, like it's complicated. For them,
again, fuck, genius, genius.
the conflict, their children becomes casualties is in a very sad, complex situation. Words have no meaning anymore, right? So
This was my whole frustration. I don't know if you guys, if you could see this in the beginning, Loki. I'm not sure if it was sharing, but I hope it was. Um, the linguistics, the twisting of linguistics, how people, and this is true gaslighters, true evil people, they will say some unfathomable shit and do some unfathomable shit that will like, and yet they'll still maintain a cadence of somebody that's being logical. They'll maintain the same cadence and they'll use the right words and the right linguistics, the logical, they'll follow the a right logical path to some bullshit. And all that leaves you with is anger and frustration. Because again, I've said it in the beginning, if we were listening, um, no matter what you said, if you come at it from an international justice court, public, a mass punishment of people, to begin there, with, let's not even go to anything. Punishing multiple people for a crime of a few is illegal. That's a war crime, number one. Oh, you don't understand. Hamas is hiding in their population, so everybody must get it. Again, you're just agreeing to collective punishment. So it's like anything you do or say, they find an excuse to switch and twist and turn the truth. And people like that, all they leave you is anger and frustration. I'm watching it from the outside and I get annoyed because, again, it's like, dude, I'm trying every way to appeal to you. And it just leaves you with anger and frustration. Now imagine the people that are actively living in these conditions, whereby every resort of peace was thwarted. That's how, again, where we said October 7th happens. If you suppress people too long and you oppress them, what comes out and the end product of that, they say the kicks of the last kicks of a dying horse hurt the most, my boy. You put people in especially a people. Gazans are the most educated in the world. Look it up. Again, I've been pulling facts. You look it up, it's out there. They have the highest doctorates, PhDs, secondary, higher level education. They have the most per population. Engineers, doctors, flipping scientists. But because of their situation, they can't do much out of it. We move.
like him, he has like a resting genocide face. Like, it's like crazy, right?
That resting bitch, the resting genocide face. It's that smugness that somebody will maintain and have the ability to maintain pose, yet you're still a vile motherfucker. Like, that is where it's like, it's another level of evil. But again, it only leaves you to resort to violence. That is my biggest pet peeve. Who's out there watching you playing?
They're here to waste time while people die. So you don't debate with pathological liars. You diagnose them, right? So, like, because this is a problem. And also I've been hearing, I just want to ask, like, do you
What's AI saying about your brand? SEMrush's AI toolkit tracks how AI sees you and the competition.
practice in the mirror this victim voice? Like, because you just sounded as if
But it's
the
not even a victim. Look at the facial expression on this nigga right here. The smugness. He's not here to listen to anything. This is somebody that's already made a decision, concluded it on what's going to happen, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. Legit. That is the face of, it's not a face of somebody that's willing to listen. This nigga, he just knows what he's done. There's a face of guilt. Him, he's tired. There's nothing. There's no energy in him. Because again, if you've seen the earlier Basim Yusuf, And this is different. It's like people's soul, it's not even defeated. They've lost hope in morality of these two niggas and everybody else.
The most powerful nuclear power in the region are hiding under the bed like a small puppy. This is crazy. And also, let's talk about journalists. How many times Israel killed journalists? And then it's like, it didn't happen. It wasn't us. No, it was us.
54 journalists or 24. I know that's a huge discrepancy, but I know it's a 4. It's a double-digit number with a 4 on it. So 54, 24. So either one of those. I'm going to look it up. Watch it be 204 journalists, dude. Let's find out in Vietnam. World War II, 67 journalists were killed. Vietnam, 63. Gaza. Let's see. Several reputable organizations committed. 178 journalists were killed. 176 Palestinian and 2 Israelis. Bomba clot. And another organization counted 174. So you see, every time, dude, even I put a number out there which is low, in reality, it's 10 times that. Tragic.
But it's an
accident. Let's talk about journalists, Bassem. Yeah, let's talk about journalists by all means.
Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Like, it's not us.
Let's talk about journalists, indeed, about Hamas.
Let's talk about you. Shut up. I didn't interrupt you. Shut the fuck up. So anyways, like, you have like
don't
journalists.
Tell me to shut the fuck up and don't use that language with me, Mr.
And
Bassem.
they have...
Don't use that language with me.
That language and you're killing people. Malish, I'm so sorry if my language is hurting your feeling. Again,
Malish, don't use that language with me. Try to keep it civilized. Do it for a second. Try to keep it civilized.
Civilized. Okay, Habibi, mesh. المهم. Anyways, like, let's talk about journalists. Let's talk about journalists. How many times they kill journalists, right? And how many times they denied it? Then say, like, it's Hamas. Like, it was not us. It was a mistake. We will investigate. And let's talk about journalists back. Let's talk about Asa Winstanley, a British journalist in London. His house was raided by British police for writing and exposing Israeli war crimes, for exposing their claims on October 7th, for exposing the rape hoax. He debunked the rape hoax. He exposed the Hannibal Directive. This is a guy sitting in London talking about a foreign country, and he was raided by British police. So I want to ask everybody who cares about freedom of expression, including you, Pierce, like, shouldn't you be worried that one of your nationals, a British journalist, he shares your same profession, to be raided by London police and his equipment taken away for writing about a foreign country? What does this tell you about England? What does this tell you about Israel? What does it tell you about the so-called freedom of expression in the West? Right? So this is the problem. Like, this is the problem of dealing with people.
So let me ask you a question, Bassem. Let me ask you a question, because I've given Jonathan a hard time. I think he's deserved it after some of the things he said. And let me give you a different type of question. The Israelis say, and have said from the start, all that has to happen is Hamas release the remaining hostages. And they have steadfastly refused to release the people that they kidnapped on October the 7th, 2023. Why don't they release the hostages? And do you condemn them for not releasing them?
I've recently come to learn that a lot of founders and marketers don't quite know how to look up their competitors' marketing strategies. I personally like using this with the startups that I work with to look up what channels the top competitors are using to market their company, as well as finding...
You see, this is the problem.
Is that going hard on him, Pierce? Really? Do you condemn Hamas? Seriously?
Your voice is annoying. Stop. Your voice
is yours, but that's okay.
Maybe.
But I manage.
I know, but you know what? People pay to come to my shows. They won't pay to come to yours. Anyways, so here's the
I'm not going to go into a pissing contest with who's a better
And because
comedian.
you will lose.
You can have
Because
that title. You can be a satirican.
You will
That's
definitely
fine.
lose.
You,
All right,
you,
can you,
you can
Bassem,
keep
answer
that. You can
answer my
continue to be a
question.
comedian.
Okay, so here's the thing. Let's talk about credibility. Like, this is what Israel claims. Why would I believe anything that Israel says?
Piers, did you ask him a question, or is this another monologue?
Yeah, I do want an answer to the question, Bassem. I think that's only fair, right? I mean, it's a very straightforward
I'm
question.
telling you, this is Israel claims. Why do I believe a liar? Israel has lost its. Israel has.
Well, you don't
credibility
dispute
of
there are still
opposing-
hostages, do you? Or do you?
Yeah, these negotiations have fallen many times within the government because people inside the Netanyahu government didn't went through.
Yeah, but that wasn't the question I asked you.
You have testimonies
Yeah,
from.
but that
hostages.
wasn't. But hang on, Bassem. That wasn't the question I asked you. I simply said, why haven't they released the hostages? And do you?
Well, you can ask Hamas
well,
for
hang
this
on.
because I'm not a Hamas
Let me
representative.
remind you. But and do you condemn Hamas for not releasing them?
Oh my God! You condemn Hamas. You could. Yes. I condemn Hamas. This is great. بص هذا حاجة. Even if they have hostages, even if Hamas was a vampire sucking baby's blood, what is happening there is not justifiable. You cannot. You do not destroy a whole population.
That's a different
because
question. It's a different question.
with homemade, like no,
But
no.
Bassem, that's a different question. And I agree with
even
you.
if they have
By the way,
you do not destroy
Bassem,
a
I
whole
agree with
building
you. I
with
actually
hostages.
agree with you.
Leopard, in Africa, we have a saying, a leopard never changes its spots. Come here, Bobby. A leopard never changes its spots. Its spots. Its spots. Never. Look at this. He's still parroting the same narrative used to justify genocide. I made it clear in the beginning. Yes, they are. The capturing of those you know what, I'll do you one better, bro. Release the 10,000 Palestinians. Release them.
But my question,
Do a trade. When Brittany Renner, that distinguished basketballer, went to Russia and got caught up for bringing drugs in another country, we traded her for a legit Russian spy. This was this guy. Oh my God, now the dots are connecting again. So this guy who we ended up trading for Brittany Renner, look it up, was an arms dealer, and not even any arms dealer, Russian arms dealer, like a weapons dealer, bro. And the biggest of them all, not just a mere street thug out here pushing 52s and whatever. No, this was an arms dealer that dealt with arms to Sudan, practically any warring place that needed weapons. This was the guy. And this was prior to the escalation of the war. Now, am I saying there's a connection, or am I saying, you know what I mean, man?
is very simple. Should Hamas release the hostages, and does the fact they keep refusing to, do you condemn that? A simple question.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. Hamas have agreed to, again, I'm not a Hamas representative. I cannot speak for them. But we all know that Hamas has agreed. And Israel comes. No. Israel has sabotaged this deal many times based on testimonies from inside the Israeli government and from the family of the hostages. Israel is the one that's been sabotaging.
Yeah, but answer my questions.
So again, he does this again quite often. Dude, this guy will give me a heart attack, bro. He will disregard evidence made. He just said it. He just told you, look, my friend, this is what happened. And yes, even they're telling you there is word. And again, the Israelis, to be honest, they are not hiding anything they say. Netanyahu's plan, all of them, they are very vocal. They speak the truth. We just don't listen. Well, we listen, but they don't listen. He just told them, like, hey, they say that they are sabotaging. Even the families of the hostages are like, okay, dude, these guys are sabotaging the deals. And he's like, no, but answer my question. That is an answer to your question. So at the end of the day, the light returns back to the source. Look to the left, my boy.
I'm answering your questions.
You're
It's
not.
not that because they do it because Israel has sabotaged.
Should they
this
release the
stuff.
hostages? And do you condemn them for
Of
not
course they
releasing
should.
them?
Of course they should. Of course they should.
And do
I
you
wish
condemn
all-
them
I
for
wish-
taking the
no,
hostages
I
and not?
condemn-
You condemn Hamas again, Pierce. Nothing changed, man. This is a brother trying to save face towards like, but again, deep down, you can tell where his true heart and opinions lie. Because again, the British, they were responsible for the building of Israel, where its current is. Not only building it, they told them to revolt against the Ottoman Empire and promised the Arabs of that land their own autocracy. They promised them that, hey, we're going to do this. And again, right after that, right after the war, the UN came in and then gave 56% of the land. And you're like, whoa, dude, wait a minute, bro. How you going to ask me to help you in a war? Tell me that I'm going to get to keep my house. But again, now you're like, okay, yeah, we're going to give it to somebody else. After my people died, so even just the betrayal of them it's just been betrayal from the beginning.
Releasing them.
Hamas. I condemn Hamas for not releasing the country, and I condemn Israel for keeping more than 25,000 hostages in Israel. Half of them is women and children, right? And it is, again,
according to the sources that I saw, was 10. But again, they have people there. Bassem has family there. So again, there are some sources that I've seen too on Google about places I've been to and grew up in that were way off. And again, people will use Google. I'm like, no, dude, I'm from there. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So again, give them benefit of the doubt.
Let me go back to my point. Credibility. Israel has lied many times. You have the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, went in front of the UN right before they bombed Lebanon. And he said every house in South Lebanon, in their kitchen, in their garage, harbors a missile for Hezbollah.
If you're still manually editing, chasing referrals, and wearing every hat in your video agency, you're already falling behind. There's an
I'm gonna turn it into.
If this is not comedy, what is this? How can you believe someone who said something that?
Have you been to southern Lebanon?
And he said,
have you been there? Do you know anything about it? No,
yeah, of course.
Don't say that. Have you been there? Do you know anything about it? Out of the three of us, I'm actually the only guy who's been there. You haven't been there. You don't know about it. I'm quite sure that you haven't seen intelligence about Hezbollah operations. And I'm quite sure that Pierce hasn't either. I can tell you that I've seen it with my own eyes. Yes, I have seen tunnels underneath houses in Lebanon. I have seen houses that Hezbollah used for military.
They also saw the Iranians having, again, all this stuff. It's like you could be right, but the fact that you do not allow independent journalists, you've killed 174 to 178. So either way, I don't know the numbers. We looked it up, but that's the variation. It's not that far off. So you could be right, but again, you're not a credible source because, again, your own people, you're saying you're not, your spokesperson are saying, well, they're not committing genocide. Your leaders are saying they are. So that's the one, there's contradiction. So even if there were no tunnels in Lebanon, we do not know. We're not going to go if you're saying, because you're clearly not a credible source. And having paid journalists to go there, no, that's a spokesperson. You have brand speakers, you have a brand speaker for Toyota. Even if Toyota is crashing, you will have to speak better on it. Like that Sprint motherfucker.
Purposes. And when you speak about lying, well, at least you should have something to back up your claims. You're saying nonsense. You don't know what you're talking about. You're cheap TV
Can you not? Don't talk over each other, Jonathan. There's no point. Let Bassem finish and then respond. It's fine.
Shut the fuck up.
All right, finish your point, Bassem, and let Jonathan respond.
Pathological, fragile, always deeply hurt state. While they're doing that while holding the gun. Israel is what happens when you give a very advanced military to a Karen. Actually, he looks like a Karen. He looks like the male Scandinavian version of a Karen. Actually, he looks like he swallowed the Karen. But Israel is the only place where you can bulldoze a house and then sue you for stretching the tent. But dude, Everybody knows that you're lying. Your neighbor knows that you're lying. Your barista knows you're lying. Even your GPS avoids your house because of the sting that comes from your vicinity. Everybody knows you're lying.
Well, I would say this. All right, let me jump in.
Pathologically lying.
Okay, let me put it this way. You know what, Jonathan? You're perfectly entitled to not care what I think about any of this or what Bassem Youssef has to say about it, because obviously he has passionate views on the other side of this. And I've changed my views, as you know. I've said this to you very clearly. But I'm not the only one. What would concern me right now, if I was Israeli or Jewish, actually, is if I read Thomas Friedman's column, which was very powerful, and I urge people to read it today on the New York Times website. If I saw that the UK, Australia, Norway, Canada, New Zealand have sanctioned
I'll read it
to read it today on the New York Times website, or Jewish, actually, is if I read Thomas Friedman's column, which was very powerful, and I urge people to read it today on the New York Times website. If I saw that the UK, Australia, Norway, Canada, New Zealand have sanctioned 2 members of the Israeli government for repeated incitements of violence against Palestinian communities, if 2 former prime ministers, one, Ehud Olmert, said enough is enough, Israel's committing war crimes. Ehud Barak, choosing a war of deception, would write a new chapter in the March of Folly. The war is a misleading smokescreen that purports to be a campaign for the country's security and future, while in actuality it's a political war. You've got your own former prime ministers, you've got Jewish columnists, you've got 5 allies, and they're all being increasingly critical of what this Israeli government is doing. Why does that not concern you?
So let's address that. First, let's characterize the countries that are part of that. Norway is not an ally. Norway has been really the tip of the most extreme part in Europe,
Let's take the UK.
propagating for a Palestinian state at all costs. Yeah, I will. And as I said in the beginning, I am indeed worried. I'm saddened by it. I think that it is a wrong decision. And I regret that that is what the UK has decided to be the policy that the UK
You know why they're doing it, don't you, Jonathan? They're doing it because Smodrich and Ben-Gvir have made no secret through their publicly stated comments.
It goes back to David Ben-Gurion, the initial founder. These were the guys that took over, that they were like, bro, we're gonna, like, these were like these were bad men. These were bad men. Like, these were bad men. They listen to whose podcast? Damn, son. I forgot. But regardless, these guys, they used to bomb British embassies. In fact, the Palestinians, believe it or not, they learned this terrorism shit from these guys, David Ben-Gurion and them. They were the warriors that finished up World War II, that went up, and they started this insurgency shit. They started this terrorism shit, and they used it against the British to get the British out of Israel. Because the British didn't withdraw out of Israel peacefully. No. They were victims and subjugated to terrorist attacks till they left. They reluctantly handed over Gaza to Israel. It was reluctant. They didn't leave, also to the credit of England at the time. But I can't give you credit for creating the problem.
They want to kick all the Palestinians out of Gaza. They also endorsing endless new illegal settlements on the West Bank. This is genocidal language they're talking.
And there's no Hamas in the West Bank too. So if Hamas is an excuse all the time, what about the West Bank? Why is the West Bank being attacked or being subjugated to abuse if there's nobody there?
Why these actions have been taken. And I don't believe, Jonathan, having interviewed you many... Hang on.
Now look at this shit. This guy, again, he's flipping sides. So even when he's being logical, again, like I said, be wary of false prophets. They will speak the God's truth, but the intent and where it's coming from, it's not from righteousness. The way Piers Morgan behaves is as if it's like an atheist that doesn't believe in God, but kind of believes in God for just in case of what if God is real. So you don't believe in God for the belief of God. It's just for self-preservation. Bars.
Let me ask a question. Having interviewed you many times since the start of the war, I do not believe that you have anything in common with these people. I just think you instinctively know what they're saying and what they are planning to do is wrong.
Again,
if you need to record anything over the internet, I cannot think of a more seamless way than Riverside to do it. We're now having a look.
He's not hiding. These guys, it's a regime. Piers Morgan spoke on the same study which I was speaking.
So let me say
about 80% of the nation. Again, I don't blame them because you do see videos of them. Everything they're saying, like Hamas is being indoctrinated to do whatever. Yo, my friend, there's videos of Israeli kids being indoctrinated into saying Palestinians are dogs, bro. Young kids, you see these videos. And again, you understand why a population. Because again, David Ben-Gurion, these guys that started this, it started from where like they would train kids from the beginning and just raise kids to just because again, they were treating them and teaching because for them, it's out of the goodness of their heads. Think about it like that. So you have the main orchestrators, the people that are planning, and you have the people that are being misled. So regardless, their fear and their contempt is real, but it's from two different sides. So it's like the kids are being trained every day that, hey, those are your enemies and whatever. So they grow up believing that. But again, you have the group that are spreading that information. Now, those are the leaders. Those are the same. Netanyahu is cut from the same cloth as Ben-Gurion. And think of the Putin-esque kind of guys. This is what I'm talking about, bro. Like KGB, like compared to Trump or these other politicians, these guys are soldiers. Like they were like Secret Service, like assassins. Like these guys are not, they're not no regular Joes. These were the guys that went after Nazis, bro. Like they were badass motherfuckers. Imagine if it's like having the who do we call the Contra guys that started in Vietnam, special forces. Yes, imagine if special forces led the country, and with that special forces, these are different kind of guys cut from a different kind of cloth than your regular politicians. Bibi Netanyahu as well. Same cloth as Putin, but just way more. These are the guys that will do what they need to do to ensure that their state exists.
Say this. As I said in the beginning, and I've been clear about it, I didn't vote for, and I probably don't support them in much of what they say. Not in content and not in the way that they say it. I don't think that
But what they're saying, if it's vindictive, so again, this is the argument for Trump supporters. I just like what he says, he speaks his mind. But if he's speaking his mind and his actions are aligning, why do we not keep listening to people? They're clearly telling you, like he says now, again, he's unaware, but he is admitting that, yes, I don't agree with the actions or whatever. So it's a contradicting state. And Pierce doesn't care enough to catch this. You see what I'm saying? Like this is the type of shit, like if you're with a toxic person or somebody that gaslights you, you got to be able to understand human behavior and linguistics. Like you got to be able to read
everything that these two ministers, these elected officials say is wrong. But I do think that many of their statements have been tasteless, have been wrong, and have been unhelpful. Now, what I am concerned with a lot, really a lot, is what we spoke about the last conversation when you had Ehud Olmert on. You asked him one semi-serious question about the war crimes allegations. He didn't back it up because he doesn't have anything to back it up with. He was
let us not go further. Again, what's happening is a collective punishment. So let's just use, you can only use one logical argument and one thing, and from there, this whole war is done. Legit collective punishment of a public. Let's not look at, because that's the less complicated one. You're collectively punishing a people. Right off of that, you're wrong. So, what do you mean war crimes?
Just there for the headlights, for the headlines, and for the attention. And
Because
because
look at the lack of emotion. That's why I'm telling you this is not an emotional or logical. This is an ideological thing. It doesn't matter. That's not a person he's talking to.
he has a grudge against Bibi, and because he also has a lot of criticism against him. That is fine, and that's part of the Israeli political debate and environment, and that is usually what happens in democracies when people have the ability to say what they think and they have the freedom to do so. By the way, Arabs have it as well in Israel, unlike in most other countries in the Middle East. However, what I would say is also very worrying, and I think relevant to this program and to many other programs, is how easily Hamas propaganda and anti-Semitism are platformed, and what the consequences of journalists.
Arabs are Semites. They are Semites. So you killing actually Arabs. This guy's fucking probably Polish or some shit. He's Eastern European. So keep in mind that you have the actual Jews, because Jews have always been in Palestine, modern day Palestine. They were always there. The ones that never left were always there. And then you have these Eastern European. These are the Ben Gurions and the Netanyahus that I'm talking about. These Jews, these ones specific, these are different. They came from a different kind of fucking area. Because again, the Jews that were living in Palestine by then, they were their brothers and sisters. They always lived there and they were chilling. And then you had these guys that came from Poland. And if you knew Poland was the worst place to be as a Jew during Nazi Germany. Like, they survived some hard shit and they almost, so these, you're having a fucking group of fucking motherfuckers that just, I'll be back. And this was supposed to be a demo. I have no mic. I don't even know if the audio is good.
A few questions ago, you started speaking about journalists. I would like to address the issue of the responsibility of journalists when they report from the field. I would like to address the
There's no journalists in the field. Again, you're using logical arguments.
They're not allowed in the field.
Of the New York Times. They are in the field. They are in the field. They have people in the field, and they have people.
How many international journalists are currently in Gaza?
And
how many international journalists are currently operating freely in Gaza?
Why would you diminish the importance of Palestinian journalists?
I
asked
in Gaza? You how many international.
Bro, you killed 174. So it's like, again, now it's why would you kill? Why would you not worry about the Palestinian journalists? So why are you worried about the international? Bro, because again, if the Palestinian journalists are there and they're telling us what they are saying, they say it's Hamas propaganda, or they are Hamas people, so they kill them. We can't trust your journalists, clearly. Even your journalists, most of the evidence against the Israelis, mind you, they come from the IDF's main account. They post this shit. There's no journalist Everything we know about them is from them. And the journalists we had earlier, which got killed.
Why would you
Yes,
unqualify
you
them?
killed them.
I didn't.
You killed them.
I said, how many
180
international
Well, there are
journalists
lots
are in
of them.
Gaza?
You can see who is reporting.
None. Nada.
Yeah, you can see who is reporting. All of the major networks are reporting from Gaza.
If you don't like the
editors
reporting from Gaza, then let international journalists in. But you won't. And there's only one reason you won't, because you don't want journalists. You don't want journalists to actually report what's happening. You would rather smear all Palestinian journalists
and
as
we are in
Hamas.
agreement, Piers, we have covered it, and I have already said that we are in agreement that you and I have said to Israeli counterparts of media that I think we should allow journalists in. We have said that, and I think you don't need to use it every time I start to make an argument of something that is remote.
Hey, dude, look, I said I was gonna give you rights, so stop asking for them, I already said I got you. You ain't gonna keep asking me. Oh, bro, you ain't gonna keep asking for your money. I said I got you. I already said it. You ain't gonna keep asking. Bro, then give it to me. Don't tell me you got me.
And you keep questioning the integrity of Palestinian journalists who are getting killed in large numbers, record numbers, in fact. But you won't let the international journalists in.
And I will continue to do that, Piers. Yes, and I will continue to question the veracity
but that's
of
very easy to do, isn't it?
Palestinian
so easy to smear Palestinian journalists who are dying in large numbers because you won't let any other journalists in. So you say all the ones that are there are pro-Hamas.
Piers,
you smear
there is a
them
lot
all.
of reporting from Gaza. There is a lot of reporting from Gaza, and really, I think it's fine that you have a point to make, but you cannot say that every time I open my mouth and I speak about press coverage or falsifying reality or repeating Hamas propaganda. That cannot be the answer that you use each and every time that I make a point about reporting.
Actually, it can.
And responsibility
it can, because it's
of
one
journalists
way.
and editors.
It is
no,
actually I
it
can.
cannot be.
I can,
it cannot
Jonathan.
be,
I'll tell you
Piers.
why I can.
No, it cannot be.
Let me answer.
No,
I'll tell you why I can.
You can do everything.
I'll
it's
tell you
your
why
show.
I can.
But at
because
the end of the day, I think responsibility goes both ways.
Let me answer you.
Yeah,
let me answer
but responsibility as a
Let me answer
journalist
you.
also
Stop
goes both
talking and let
ways.
me answer you. Right? This is the reason I can.
By all means, Piers.
Because ultimately, we've got to a place in this war where Israel denies or casts out.
Ultimately, we've got to a place in this war. Nigga, you got us here. Again, look how even I'm disinterested. Look at Basim's disinterested. Look at this man's face. Because again, it's like, it's funny. Anyways, we're almost done, bro. Bugali is ready for me. I gotta go eat. This was supposed to be a test. Nini, thank you, girl. I appreciate you.
Over anything that happens which reflects negatively on the IDF or the Israeli government. Anything. It's all just dismissed as it didn't happen like that.
That's also
we'll
not
launch
true.
an
That's
internal
not true,
investigation
Piers.
ourselves.
If we're honest,
blah, blah,
that's
blah.
not
And
true.
so the overriding answer to all of that problem, to all of that, to get to the truth, to get to the bottom of it, is let the international journalists in. So I will keep saying it until it happens. I know you agree with me. I know you agree with me,
Piers.
but
That's
you
fine.
agreeing with me doesn't make it change.
People will use logical arguments to you agree.
Prior to working with Popular Opinion, never ever got response.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah. As I said, you can keep on saying it, but I would keep on saying that I think journalists and editors have responsibility for the lies that they spread and for the anti-Semitism that they help flame. And I think that we see that. Jews, when you speak, you expressed concern and you asked me how I feel as an Israeli and as a Jew about what people say and about the situation. I am concerned without even a drop of cynicism about what you said. And I think those are serious issues that this government needs to answer for. But I will also say that I am very concerned with the ease and with the negligence that I see journalists and people with access to microphones, how they just spread falsehoods, libels, and lies about Israel and about Jews. And I see the real world consequences of what happens.
Does this make sense? Again, he's right. His right to be to to Pierce's people in Europe, he's right to be shocked by their reactions because they are personally responsible. They are personally. So he's like, hey, dude, I'm shocked that you guys turned against us. When this you were active in setting up of the situation. It's like you've known the plan all along. Why are you backing out right now? So he is right to be surprised. Because again, this is like two people that decided to commit a crime and one decided to back out after the fact. You know, so he's like, yo, brother, what's up? So I'm not admitting whatever he's saying. But again, as a human, you have to be able to understand other people's perspectives and where they're coming from. It may not be right, but again, I understand and I can see it's just an observation. It's an analysis of the situation.
When Islamists and Palestinian supporters and Hamas supporters and all of the other bad apples that have embedded themselves in Western society are allowed to
But we've also got, Jonathan, I'm going to go to Bassem.
Take the streets in New York.
I'm going to go to Bassem to respond, but I would just say on that point, I myself have seen in the last 2 weeks that if you dare to criticize the Israeli government in a way that almost everybody is now doing, by the way, whether it's former Israeli prime ministers, whether it's allies of the country, you name it, people are queuing up to criticize the Israeli government. But when I did it, despite having defended Israel's right to defend itself, for many, many months, as Bassem knows, we argued about it, that I was immediately accused of being a Jew hater and an anti-Semite. It is a deliberate campaign.
That's not
it was a deliberate campaign to shut me up. It was a deliberate campaign to stop me criticizing the Israeli government by branding me a Jew-hating anti-Semite, which anyone who's watched this show from the start of this war knows is complete nonsense. Right,
that's true. We know he loves.
Your final word to this.
That's not truthful.
Well, it is true. I read it every second on social media. I saw myself being accused of being a Jew-hating anti-Semite.
The criticism against you was, Piers, you know that the criticism against you wasn't because you have criticism against Israel. It was because how you spoke to Natasha, the tone and the demeanor. It wasn't the content of what you said.
Which I make no apology for, by the way.
How you spoke.
She is a barrister for a group called Lawyers
for... not be a misogynist. And actually, I agree with him. That video, too, I don't like the way he was speaking to that lady. Because at the end of the day, she's still a lady. You know what I mean? So, and again, it's false from him. It's not that she's still a lady. A liar is still a liar. It's false. From him, it's not genuine. So it felt like you're bullying this girl, which some could say she deserves it, but I don't believe you have to treat people like that. So if you disagree with somebody, we can go somewhere. Unless it's a man, okay, with Pierce, I'll go into, but regardless, all I'm saying is that he was being rude to the girl. And again, from somebody, it was just rudeness because I know he genuinely doesn't believe in the liberation of Palestinians. So it's like he is right. But even if he's right that he was being mean to the girl, why not call him a misogynist or an asshole? The anti-Semite is crazy.
Israel. She's not an impartial horse in the race. She's supposed to be an international barrister. If she can't take tough questions or being challenged or being interrupted by a journalist, she's in the wrong job. Right, Bassem, your response to Jonathan. To round off. Bassem will now be allowed to speak without interruption to finish the debate. Bassem.
Have you ever heard content creators say, comment the word burgers below, and I'll send you over something for free? And then when you comment the word burger...
First of all, Piers, welcome to the behavior of narcissistic psychopath. They love bomb you, and then when you make a single criticism about them, they go all flip like bad shit on you. Welcome, Habibi. Also, like Jonathan, overuses the word anti-Semitism so much, it's like a used condom at this point. Completely stretched out, lost all its protection, and nobody wants to touch it anymore. Jonathan uses Hamas more like a crackhead uses excuses. Right? And let me tell you about things from the ground. I'm coming to London, by the way, 19th of July. There is a big concert called Voices for Solidarity.
My birthday.
They are organized by health workers for Palestine, right? These are people that were on the ground and they saw with their own eyes and they have testimony. I would love you to actually host some of them. So if you want people from the ground, so they tell. But of course, it's going to be like Hamas propaganda and all of that. And also, like what's like really have been bothering me about all of this is the reset. It's as if the media is living its own Groundhog Day. Everything resets, right? Like Western media has the attention of a TikTok algorithm. Every discussion starts from zero. Every crime exists in a vacuum. Every pattern is like coincidence. Like, oh my God, those Israelis there had really bad luck with these accidental hospital bombing. What the hell? 40 hospitals bombed, and we discuss 41 as it's a new development, right? It's like covering a serial killer, new 20th victim without checking the 19 victims in the freezer. This is not covering. This is covering, and here. That gives you nobody if you're friend, right? That everybody can see you, everybody can smell your bullshit. He said why he's not invited to a house party, right? You will win in the battlefield. You will get more land because America supports you. It's like supporting a rabid dog that shits on your lawns and eats your cats and bites everybody. And it's like, oh, you just like you have a bad day. You will win, maybe, on the battlefield, but everybody knows who you are. A bunch of heartless, psychopathic, demonic assholes. I don't have anything to say.
Okay. Is that the end of the debate, Piers? That's the final of the.
Do you want final word? By all means.
I'll try to say something positive. You know, despite that very foul language and what he just said. I will gladly invite you and your grandchildren to come visit Israel.
Again, these are people, bro, gaslighters. They will abuse you and bring you to the brink of just a mental frustration, and then they will judge you for lashing out. So now you switch the argument into focusing on what the issue is, but you're worried about my reaction to your fuckery. You know what I mean? So now that is gaslighting 101. If now you're attacking my reaction to you, how does that change to what you did? Yes, he's mad, he said some wild shit, but how does that take out from what he said?
In 70 years, maybe you and I won't be here, but maybe our grandchildren will. They will come to see a flourishing, democratic, free, prosperous society that despite the actions of the people like you, despite our enemies, despite naysayers, despite haters and many other people, they will see that we will continue to live in our ancestral homeland. We will continue to nourish it and love it. And we will...
It's fucking Polish. The guy's Polish.
Continue to prosper and live here despite people like you.
All right, but I would also like in 70 years' time to see...
Look at him. The guy looks Swedish or some shit. He looks Scandinavian. This is who Hitler was talking about, the blue-eyed white man. But on the wrong side, though. But regardless, is white and blue-eyed. Look at him. That's not a Middle Eastern. Jesus... Bro, Jesus looked more like Bassem than him. Look at that guy. Look. This is not somebody from the Middle East. What are you talking about? Ancestral homeland. Yeah, in Europe, my boy.
Exactly the same for the people in Gaza who are Palestinians. And
that's their choice.
And that has been
their choice.
Okay,
they can have it.
I would like to see that.
Choice.
I would like to see that kind of utopia for them as well.
So would I.
And for them to enjoy the same human rights that you and I enjoy. I've got to leave it there,
so
gentlemen.
would I, but that's their choice.
All right. we've got to leave it there. Jonathan, you had a good amount of time to speak, as did Bassem. Thank you both very much. Piers Morgan.
Again, nothing came out of any of these discussions. Nothing. The first time Pierce was doing this for clicks and shit. Now the second time is just to save face. That's it. But in general, there's no effect. Again, you saw the questions I was asking as he was saying, that's why this video is the whole video. This video is 50 minutes. Our stream now is damn near 2 hours. Because every time that guy said something, that's how much, look, it's about an hour longer to address. And if there was somebody to respond, we would have 4 hours of discussions. These are long discussions. Nothing comes out of quick clips like this. Because again, the guy said some bullshit, but he wasn't even listening. Every time he opened his mouth, there was an opportunity to check him. Not even check him, just to get the truth. There was no opportunity. You can't do this in this long. We're done, bro. Bonne nuit. Au revoir. Bye-bye. Have a good night. Nah.